Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday at 3 o'clock, my show. Just want to say my special guest today is now my husband, Steve Sperling. Hi, it's nice to meet you again, Steve, on my program, although we see each other. Okay, he's going to actually start the show, and he's going to actually give me some questions, and I will hopefully be able to transfer the answers to you, plus the audience and anybody that wants to call in. Let me just give you the number again. It's 888-994-4995. Please call in with any questions that you may have, and anybody in the audience here, please give me the questions too.
Also, if you've lost touch with a loved one that you might have lost recently or years back, and you're looking for a message, please call in to 888-994-4995 Studio A and ask Sally questions. And if you would like a private reading, message the studio here, and we can perhaps get that set up. We were talking earlier, Sally, about how you have evolved from the beginning of your story about 18 years ago to today, especially with your artwork. And as we'll see, some of the art will come up on the screen here. But at the very beginning, you started off with very almost juvenile drawings, and
Right.
They have just grown to be like the ones that are on the screen here.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Those were your first 3 drawings ever.
That's correct.
In pencil. And then it kept evolving to things like this lady over here, or something, this lady over here. And ladies are in your artwork quite a bit.
Yes, they are, yes.
Perhaps you'd like to tell the audience why so many ladies.
That I really don't have the answer to, but I believe that I was touching many past lives. At the time, I didn't understand any of this, but when I started to, one of my first messages that I got, which I actually called in the very beginning, as you're aware of, and many of my audience, especially if they've read my book, I said I was astral projecting. However, I'm actually seeing 18 years later what was really happening to me. I was being contacted by various individuals from a different realm. But one of the messages that they did give me, loud and clear, was go and get some paper, pencils, and start sketching, which I started to do. And of course, over the years, more and more I was beginning to understand, and I was beginning to paint. In the very beginning, I was just sketching. I had no idea that I could paint. I had no idea that I could even do this. But many of my beginning, which is one of these here, which we'll get into a little bit, started, I was drawing. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was drawing. I also couldn't even see properly. I had 2 cataracts in my eye, but they were leading me to showing me that I was going back into previous incarnations, with the help, of course, my guide, which, if anybody's listening to my show, is very aware of, Aldo, who appeared the moment that this happened to me to explain detail by detail, little by little, of what was happening to me.
Yes, and in your book, Aldo takes a look at some of these drawings and gives his observation as to what they mean. The painting right behind your head has many faces, and I believe you told me that they have something to do with perhaps Catherine de' Medici.
Yes, and actually this is the first time I've actually exposed the name on TV. But yes, this was a past life in the 15th century, in the Renaissance period. when he was here on Earth, he was able to describe to me and actually interpret a lot of my art. He has gone, but that doesn't mean that he has gone from me, as you well know. So he's still continuing. And what I'm actually understanding today, and the viewers, I have to disclose this. I always thought from the very beginning, because I didn't really understand that and I knew nothing about astral projection, but I was going out into the universe after this started to happen to me. But I'm beginning to see now, more and more, 18 years later, that I was getting contact with a lot of these individuals that were actually helping me to show me who I had been in previous lives. Not only Aldo, who was here in this lifetime to show me, they were helping me, and they were showing me in my drawings that I was drawing. I drew many, many things in the very beginning from previous lives.
And speaking about your astral projection, there's a lot of things going on today with potential UFOs or Chinese balloons and things like that. I believe you're going to be a guest on the show Lights in the Night with Russ Johnson.
Yes, I am.
And you made a great big hit on his first show here at the studio. Could you speak a bit about your relationship with Russ Johnson?
Well, he walked into the studio, as many people have, as you're very aware of, that I can't say that I recognized him. He actually he will be in the studio a little later on, but we had a lot of connection, of contact together. And his story is very much about the UFOs. I did not know that I knew as much as I did, but I did not know in the very beginning that I could even paint. So I'm very open to what is given to me. I believe that this is a journey, and as Aldo used to say, take it little by little. But I'm ready now to come forward with what I realize now that I had experienced over the last 18 years.
Yes, and it's very exciting, the direction with which your show is going to go in, and some things in the future with your second book and the potential of a movie to back that book up.
Right.
So hopefully we can get those projects going soon.
And I also want to say to you, Steve, that when you knew me many years ago, 22 years ago, so the audience may want to know this, we basically did not have this in common in any way whatsoever. I believe very much is timing. You came into my life a year ago with an open mind. The only thing that I can tell people that are listening, keep an open mind. It's so very, very important. You don't have to believe anything at this point that I'm saying. But here is a very good example. 22 years ago, maybe 23 years ago
Close
now,
to 23
here
now.
you're sitting as my guest in a show that you can't get enough of what we're talking about, right?
Right. We would never have become what we are today if we tried to do that years ago.
No, the timing is real. Although, as I believe, there is no such timing as we say, because on the other side, let's say the other side of the veil, there is no timing, but we have made time. And our time was now to come forward with this. And I'm getting phone call after phone call, emails from people. What is going on right now up in the sky? All these things that are coming down. They're going, Sally, your timing is perfect. I only realized two weeks ago that I had all these abductions. I thought it was, that although I didn't know about astral projection, I thought I was just astral projecting, which people had accepted. I believe today, because they were talking to me, I was being abducted, which is great. Come on, do it. I'm fine.
I'd like to get back to your artwork here for a moment. As we said that at the beginning, your drawings were almost juvenile, and they progressed quite rapidly. And your later works, the intricacy in some of those works are just beyond comprehension. You know, I, for one, can't draw a straight line with a ruler, and you make all these lines, and I'm told that you have no idea what you're doing when you sit down to do these. And you know, there's a painting, perhaps from the Mayan or Incan period.
Oh my gosh, yes, okay.
The intricate work there is just incredible. If we can see the black and white that has you know, a whole town. Oh, look at that one. That's just an amazing. What would you say that that's about, Sally?
Right. At the time that I was doing this, of course, I had Aldo that was giving me the interpretations of this. This is from the Incan period, I think. I didn't know too much about this, but I was being channeled just as I am when I talk. I have to have the question and I can give the answer. But this was happening actually as I was drawing. I used to, what I thought I didn't realize, but I was going into a trance-like state, and this is some of the artwork that I did in the very beginning. It's obviously not the same as what I began to do later on, but these of what I have, and I maybe have about 50 of different things, have so much meaning. I feel that I want to open this up now to people to see what they may see. I did not understand it at the time, and yet I was able to draw this. I have many, many like this. I have many.
And you can see the paintings that Sally has on artbysallybarnard.com.
I actually have never put this out there like that, but I believe that now is the time, especially as I am doing another show on UFOs too, with Russ Johnson, that I feel that I want to kind of get people maybe interested in this. Aldo is not here anymore, but I can kind of get some interpretation myself of what I am drawing, what I had drawn actually in those days.
Okay. So if there are any questions from the audience here in the studio.
Let's open it up to maybe people in the studio or anybody that wants to call in. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Hi, Sally.
Hello,
I have
Mindy.
a question. While you were talking, I'm amazed at a few things. I'm amazed how the guides, so to speak, will get the word out in so many different ways, and how you were told or led or both to do the artwork as a means of expressing spirit and things you were seeing or feeling or messages that probably are yet to be, some of them, interpreted, because there's so much going on in the painting behind you. I actually could see movement in it.
Beautiful.
But I like to highlight the point, and see what you think, of how important it is to pass on this work. Because what other reason would they have except to get it out in the public that this isn't all there is,
Thank
and
you,
many
Mindy.
other things.
Thank you so much for that, because as you're talking to me, and people know I'm famous for my goosebumps when I get validation, I am getting goosebumps. Yes, it is really important. I mean, I've kept this so-called, let's say, a secret for many years, but I'm ready to talk to this, talk about what happened to me. Aldo has passed, but he always used to say, as you know, he was my God. Be my mouthpiece, talk about what I have talked to you about. I am ready to come forward with any question that people will. Maybe they don't believe it, maybe they do, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to give the answers that I am being channeled to, which I was able to tap into. And a lot of this is, it's something that I do want to talk about. And thank you, Mindy, for bringing that up. I appreciate that. You've been my friend now for many years. I don't think you've even heard me talk about it that much. But a couple of weeks ago, I realized what actually happened to me. It took me 18 years to discover what really has happened to me. I was on the show. I've been on the show and done many programs. I had met Steve 22 years ago. I can't even say I wasn't ready. I didn't even understand until now. I've done what we would call 1,000% jump in the last couple of weeks of what really happened to me, and my message needs to be put out there. Whether you believe it or not, I have to talk about it.
Well, is there really any difference between astral projecting with a guide or with any other interdimensional entity? I guess there is a difference, actually, but
Yes.
maybe you had many types.
That's a great question, Mindy. I didn't know the answer a couple of weeks ago. I would tell you, and I had written in my first book, all my travels for nearly a year, what I would call, which I was doing, astral projection 3 times a week for 1 year. However, I questioned myself, and I said, well, if this was astral projection, you're not actually seen. So, I mean, this is what I was told. I'm talking to people. So I began to go within myself only over the last couple of weeks to say, well, I saw a spaceship, I saw a vehicle, I was talking to the people, they're explaining it. Then suddenly, just as all this happened to me, a lot of my memories came flooding back. I was being, let's call, taken, friendly taken, by all these people that were showing me all these different planets. I openly talked about the planets. I knew that people would say, what in the world is she talking about? But today, it's like a piece of the puzzle. It's all coming to me. I need to say that I traveled. I know what I saw. In my own way, I gave myself proof because I brought back what I saw, and I was able to put the art out there. I was able to talk about things that I didn't even know that I knew, but I was able to talk about it. So for me, the validation is very real. If I had listened to someone telling me this story maybe 20 years ago, I'd go, this woman is out of her mind. But I got my validation, and I'm really ready to come forward with it today.
Just one more question.
Of course.
I would just like to know what you feel the difference is of being abducted or leaving your body. I don't know if we do it ourselves. In other words, with two guides, let's say, rather than being what you call abducted. What's the difference?
Well, it's a little bit of both, Mindy, as you know, because you also have an amazing story and how we met too. Well, that's another show. We'll do that. I was astral project. I did a little bit of both. But what they told me the other night was, if you're astral projecting, and I knew nothing about it, how am I able to communicate with people? Because if you're flying all around to other planets, but you don't necessarily, and I'm not sure, I have to do a little more research on this, that you're actually communicating and they're talking to you. Most of my travels that I remember, they were guiding me. They were telling me where I was. I was communicating with them in a spacecraft. It wasn't a round one, it was a long one. But they were talking to me, telling me where we were, what was going on, and having a proper conversation with me. Now, people may say, well, what did they look like? They looked very similar to me. They did not look like what we see sometimes as aliens, but they were the ones that came to me. Aldo, my friend who met me here on this earth, told me in my first travel, when I first met him, he came into what I thought was a dream, and he told me exactly where I had been in that dream the following day. It was too much for my mind to understand that, but I thought, how can someone come into my dream? This is impossible from what I had learned. And yet he told me every detail of my first travel, of where I was. He didn't want to scare me, and he didn't tell me who he was, but he said, we'll go little by little. To me, this was complete validation.
And you have documented those things with your artwork.
I have.
Although we don't have those with us today. There are many drawings and a few paintings that show what you're talking about, and we'll show them on a future show.
And it's hard, just to let the audience know, to take this all in. I'm in my 18th year of understanding that. And it's only over the last couple of weeks I absolutely realized. I knew that something had happened to me, and I had Aldo here up until 18 months ago. But he used to say to me, little by little, you will understand so much. Be my mouthpiece. Well, today I see what I just opened up to this 2 weeks ago. Now, not to bring in the news, because I don't know the answer to what they're seeing up there, but it's kind of strange. 2 weeks I opened up and suddenly it may be something different, or maybe they don't want to disclose it, or maybe they do. But it's strange that I should see this 2 weeks ago, and suddenly they're looking up in the sky and all these various things are coming down, being shot down. I don't know. My disclaimer is, I don't know what they are, and they may come forward with it. But I do want to say that. I'm not telling you or the audience what they are, because I don't know at this point.
And hearing your take on everything that's happening and all that's happened in the past, anyone who knows me from my past would be the first to tell you that I would turn around and walk the other way hearing what you're speaking about. But now every day is a brand new adventure and acceptance of everything that's happened to you. And I just have a thirst for learning everything that you're saying. And it's absolutely the truth.
And again, as you know, Steve, we've had so much validation, especially from my guide Aldo, who had left us on your birthday, absolutely, which to me, that was what we call a naturally, that I should come into your life or you into mine on Aldo's birthday. I mean, this is incredible that there is so much that, you know, that we don't know. But I think if you begin to tune in, and my message today is, if I can, I want to educate people that there is so much more going on in this life. You don't have to even believe it. And I've often said, fake it till you make it. I love that saying. Just know that we are here, we're not alone, but that's another story. I mean, obviously I'm getting very interested in what's going on with the other planets. I truly do believe that there are many other planets. I do not expect the audience to understand that, suddenly say, oh yeah, we had it wrong. But little by little, if they can just open their minds to that there is so much more. We go to so many different places. We go to different dimensions here. When I first heard the word dimension, I didn't understand it, although that was happening to me. It takes time to open your mind to this. The main thing is, believe it if you can, and just listen to what you think is not what we're used to hearing, but maybe there's more than this, just this life, because there is. And I see you nodding your head, and I can't wait for you to ask me a question, because you can relate to what I'm saying. I know that.
I definitely can relate to that, and from the few people that's in this audience may know, I've had a connection with my guardian angels since I was a kid in my crib, and they communicate with me since I was a kid, and it's telepathic, it's ESP, it's not words, it's nothing, it's kind of a vibration, and you just understand, and so I've lived my whole life in that space, and now we're hearing a lot, and people think this is all fun. Have you heard about lucid dreaming?
Well, that's exactly what was happening to me, actually.
So I'm a major lucid dreamer.
Oh my gosh.
And sometimes I'm tired because I feel like my days, my real life and my dream life are merging. They're sometimes I would say to someone, oh, you remember I told you such and such, and they said, I didn't speak to you. I'm like, yeah, we had a conversation already. Well, it was in my dream. And the way I explain it is, I fall asleep. I am sitting in a movie theater, watching a movie. The movie is my dream. So as my dream is going on, me in the movie theater is observing the dream and then asking me, who is asleep, questions as to, why is the person in your dream today? And then in my sleep, I'm thinking, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I was looking at Facebook and a person must be that. So it's this three-way conversation I'm having while I'm asleep. And when I wake up, I remember everything.
Yeah, you do. And
I have gotten up to document it, and I'll be up an hour and pages of detail.
That's what I did.
And it's like, when do I sleep?
I absolutely. I started documenting 18 years ago when this started to happen to me. I can remember what I saw 18 years ago. I can give you every single detail.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you're sitting here to verify that, because it happens to people.
Yes.
But it is what we call lucid dreaming, astral projection.
Yes.
We have an astral body. Also, it's what I'm seeing, that I was contacted by what we call aliens. I'm just seeing that. But I had a little of each for
we do have many dimensions.
We do. We have many dimensions.
And because our mind is closed, we can't see it. But the minute you start to open your mind, like you said, then you start seeing, and it comes over either planets or whatever that is. But they are other levels, and the higher we elevate in vibration, that's when we start seeing the other side.
And the main thing that I tell people is, please just keep an open mind, because when this happened to me, I thought I didn't understand it, but apparently, as Aldo, my guide, you don't really know my story, who was here, who materialized, who came in here to help me with this, and was there the first day that I, quote, had a, let's call it a lucid dream, told me and got into my dream. I couldn't ignore that. I was ready. We're not always ready. We might, I believe, obviously in past and future lives. Yes. So it was my time to open up, as I believe it is your time. This is not coincidence that
This
we're meeting
is not
each other
coincidence.
together.
No, I'm going to take
we
this.
We haven't really talked. But
We
I can
haven't.
see- no,
We haven't.
I
We've
know.
been meeting for the last, 2-3 weeks?
Yes, but
And
there's
you're
we
right.
have a
Everything is
tremendous
happening in the
amount
last
common.
2-3 weeks.
Absolutely.
I have a crazy story, just like you say. You know, we don't tell our stories because no one would believe us. But I have a story when I was about 12 and in school, and we left the school to go to the little grocery to get some, candy and whatever. And on the way back, and I was the youngest of the group, and they were all older girls, and I just so wanted to be in the group, and they allowed me to go with them, that I was trying to get their attention, and I was walking in front of them so I could talk to them, and I went to cross the road without looking, assuming they're looking for me, but no one was paying attention, and a car was coming. And all I can remember is a horn blowing, the wind passing, and someone grabbed me by my left shoulder and pulled me back.
All right.
And when I fell back, I heard my girlfriends all start screaming. And they're like, "Oh my goodness, the car almost hit you, Karina. Oh my goodness." And they're freaking out. And they said, "Thank goodness you tripped backward." And I thought, who trips backward? So I felt a hand grab my shoulder and physically pull me back. And I looked around, and of course there's no one there, but because I know my relationship with my angel, all I did was look up and I said, "Thank you." While everyone else is screaming, and we go to school, and like, "You guys should have seen Karina almost got hit by a car," and I'm like, well, it wasn't my time. My angels told me, "It's not your time. We're going to pull you out of the way." So that even took my belief to a whole nother
Beautiful,
level.
Karina. Then maybe, obviously, you'll come on my show as a guest because we've just started to open up. I didn't know all this, but it's not coincidence you're sitting in the studio. So let's see if there's any other people that maybe can relate to this right now. Is there anybody in the audience or that may want to call in? Or?
So, Sally, there's one of the things that I've noticed as I sit here looking at you and then your paintings behind you and then the earliest things that Steve had shown earlier. And I think it's fascinating that your artwork is a representation, a physical representation of your spiritual evolution. And the more that you evolve spiritually, the more intricate and the more life shows up in your artwork.
It kind of takes on a life of its own, right? Yes.
Yes.
But that's coming from me. My journey from I did know this, as Aldo used to explain to me, from a previous lifetime, just to give a little bit of history of myself, which was in the Renaissance, where I knew everything that I'm talking about now. I had a lot of responsibility in that lifetime, so my life was dormant in my previous lives after that. But in this lifetime, I opened up, so I'm really remembering, and which I put into my art. But being here, especially in a 3D, which is very dense, I didn't understand exactly, and yet it still could come through. So as I graduated, so to speak, every year a little bit more, as he used to say, take it little by little, my artwork changed. I used to have a lot of sketching in the beginning that actually had all these things in it. I did not understand. I did, but I took Aldo to explain, as he does in detail in my first book, of what was happening. But then, of course, it went on to different things, because I'm learning, just like everybody else. But I know, and I'm no better than anyone, I'm not saying that, but I've obviously had a lot of experience with this, as many people have. So my mind is opening up to that, if that makes sense. So I'm able to, which I'm able to do, I'm able to put it on paper, which to me, for myself even, is tremendous validation of where I was, what's happening to me, and where I'm going, because I can do each of one of these three things. So to me, I needed this validation. Sometimes people, it might just come to them as you were talking, and you may not need the validation that I had. My validation is very important today, Lynn, because I need to show people I don't expect everybody to believe this. I might not have done 20 years ago, but I'm able to put it on paper, which makes me not my ego, oh my God, I'm able to. That's not the reason. The reason that I'm able to put this on paper, is to show people, for me, it's real, because I could not paint anything or draw anything. And suddenly, let's say from the complete unknown, they're coming to me to tell me. That was my very first message. Put this on paper. It's validation. It's validation for me and many of our viewers out there, hopefully. I'm ready to pass this on. We need it badly today.
Would it be safe to say that in this lifetime, early on in your life, you knew that you were special in many ways, but it wasn't until you had your first experience and Aldo came in your life to guide you that things were put into perspective and you began to grow that way?
Okay, just let me first say, because you know, when you say special, and I appreciate that, but I try not to, I'm devoid as much as I can of ego. I'm not special, and that's fine, because that's how people might see me, but I have been given this message. We actually
You're
all
awakened.
can do this.
You're awakened.
I'm
You're
awakening,
enlightened.
yes, I'm awakening. So to me, it rubs against me a little bit, which I
Okay.
understand,
Well,
which is
perhaps
fine.
the wording was wrong, but
No,
would
no,
you say
I'm not
that you had
criticizing that.
abilities that you couldn't quite comprehend early in life, but
Yes.
it wasn't until
Till-
this awakening?
Well, I didn't know until, just to give you a little bit of background of my guide, he came into my life 18 years ago when I had my first astral projection, lucid dream, abduction. I'm not sure what to call it, but I know I was there. And he explained everything to me in that dream, quote, that I was having. So and the only reason, I'm not going to say special, but I was picked to do this is because I've had other lifetimes when I knew this. But I had had a lot of responsibility in the 15th century from who I was in that lifetime, that when I started to come back in, I didn't, as Aldo used to tell me, I didn't want any part of it. He knew in this lifetime I would begin to, as you say, wake. So he was here, and he was with me for 18 years until he passed about 17 months ago today, to guide me when I first, he knew me a year before this happened to me, never said a word. But the moment I opened up and had my lucid dream, which is a good way to explain it, he was there within 3 hours after I'd experienced that to tell me what had happened.
And how was it, and when was it that you developed the ability to receive messages for people?
Well, of course, in the very beginning, I mean, I'm a human in a human body, so I didn't know, but I'm suddenly seeing things. What was happening to me, even within a month or two, I was predicting what might happen. I'm talking to people. Well, I was very quiet, but I talked to my good friends that certain things were going to be happening. I never got a time frame, but I'm thinking, how am I able to do this? And suddenly what I had seen in a dream, quote, was happening exactly as I had seen it. I'm giving people messages. I became very psychic because that's part of the territory. And I'm telling them things, but I'm also very I'm not sure, but this is what I see. And everything, I suddenly have people coming to me, well, give me more. You're absolutely accurate. I'm giving first and last names. I wasn't able to do that before. At least I didn't know I was able to do that. So it all came part and parcel of the territory that happened to me.
Sally,
Yes.
can you interpret the pictures, the paintings? Now, I mean, Aldo did it for you, right? So if you look at one, can you read the messages or no?
I can up to a point, Mindy, and that's a good question, but I guess I relied very much on Aldo in the beginning because he would go into what I had sketched because I wasn't even aware of the things that he was telling me. Today, yes, I can see many more. For instance, this particular one that Steve wanted to bring in with all the faces, I believe that a few people in the studio can relate to that. I believe that's from the Renaissance period, which actually had told me, but I am recognizing the faces of these people. I mean, I know that this, and the people here understand what I'm going through because they've all had some sort of, they know what I'm talking about. I think we're having to go to a commercial in a few minutes, but I'll be happy to open this up to anybody that
I
might
just
have
want to
questions.
say, Sally, that your pictures it's like when we write a book, so someone can read it and interpret it in their own way. Whoever looks at them, they're getting the message that you put out for them. So when I see it, whatever message that's for me, I will see that.
You interpret.
So they're each, your picture, your all has a message for all of us.
Exactly.
And
But you
only
see,
what I need.
yes, and as Mindy, whatever you see, and I'd love to talk, Mindy, when we come on the other side of the commercial here, of how we actually met each other. She's one of my best friends today, and I did not know you a few years ago. So we are brought together. I just want to bring that up. So we'll talk about that. I believe it's commercial time. So please stick around and come back on the other side of the commercial. Thank you. Okay, we're ready for
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
this world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybarnard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hi, we're back. Okay, I'm going to open up the studio for any questions that you may have to ask. Also, Steve, I just want to tell him, he said to me, you reprimanded me because I said I am not special. Okay, Steve, I'm special to you, just so that we clarify that, okay?
Yes,
I'm not
you are.
special to everybody else, all right? I have to just, that's a disclaimer. I'm special to him, okay?
You're very special
We just
to
got
me.
married about
sweet.
8 weeks
Congrats.
ago. Yes.
Mindy said you're special to her.
And I'm special to Mindy, and you're special to me, Mindy. Thank you. Okay, is there any questions? I was actually, yes. Mindy is here in the studio. I have actually mentioned it before, but how I guess my message here is that we gravitate to the people that are at our level. It doesn't matter if you're low. It doesn't mean that you're on your journey, but we get to different vibrational energies in our lifetime. In this studio today, I believe everybody sitting here is on our vibration, including you, Steve. You may not understand that right now, but you are at our level of vibrational energy. Okay, very briefly, I am very loyal to people, especially that do my hair. Mindy is a hairdresser, okay? I'm driving along, maybe 3 years ago, Mindy, correct? And I'm saying, maybe more, yes, 4 years ago. I'm going, my hair looked nice. It had looked nice up until 4 years ago too, but it's extra nice now. And I'm driving along and something in my head said, don't go to that hairdresser, make an appointment somewhere else. Well, to cut a long story short, I actually called a salon that I didn't know who was working there. I said, I need my hair colored and I need it cut. So I don't know how I got this number, but it was not far from where I lived, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I had not known the salon. I drive there, I walk in, I sit at my girlfriend Mindy, who's here in the studio, at her station, and I believe your first words were to me, Mindy, we had never met, you're an artist. I'm going, yeah, I'm an artist. And within a few minutes, you told me your story, which paralleled very much to mine in the very beginning, and you whispered in my ear, I'm sure you remember this, there are a few of us in here that knows what we're talking about. Now, my question is, and we became very good friends, and she's one of my best friends today, but how in the world does that happen? My car literally took me to you. Okay, I have no other way of explaining it. If you'd like to come forward and explain a few things that were going on
Well,
with
what
you.
I love is how involved in our lives spirit is. To me, that's the best part. I love it. It's like, come on in, you know. I find that so interesting, and I like to tell other people, you know, if you pay attention enough. My mother sends me a song from the other side, only one song. And I found this out after she had passed, because the song always comes with something, and it was words she had said to me as a child. And it's the, ooh, child, things are gonna get easy.
Right.
So the other day, I was bringing a friend to the airport. And just as I pull over in Fort Lauderdale, the song comes on. And I'm like, ooh, because it's like, always when it'll get your attention, like you have to pull over in the airport and there it is. And so
Right.
it's like, hit me.
Right.
I open the door and at my feet is a necklace with all butterflies hanging off a gold necklace. And I pick it up because you don't have a minute, you know. They'll, And I help my friend with her bags and then kiss her goodbye. And I get it, and I know it's from my mother because the song comes with the necklace comes with the song, but I love them to intervene in my life. Spirit, guides.
Well, we have the
all of that
validation of that,
dimension.
Mindy, because how would I have not? I
Well,
would
that's
not
what
have
I'm
met you.
saying with
so
you.
it's just amazing. They put us where, and as you, I have really not had a conversation with you, Karina. But it's Karina. I'm not even sure of your name. It's Karina, right? We had met. How are you sitting here right now and understanding everything I'm saying? That vibrational energy is being brought, especially, and I want to give the Brooklyn Cafe an amazing here.
And that,
because
yes.
it's here, and you know that. Both Freddie and Dawn know that. It's amazing what we have here. Steve comes into my life 22 years later because that vibrational energy, and here he's sitting on my program here at the Brooklyn Cafe. In fact, what I want to say, and Lynn, I don't want to leave you alone here, Lynn. You're also part of this. We all have a piece of this puzzle. We're not here what I would call accidentally. We're here for reasons that we're meant to be here. We all have a piece to offer in this scenario, this story. And I believe with everything that we're going through on the serious side here, with the world today as it is, that we need to all get together, and this is coming over me very strongly, to talk about what's going on. I don't know, again, with all these things that are coming, that they're shooting down all over the place. I'm not sure. But for me to suddenly come out with UFOs at this period in my life, I'm not saying that's what it is, because that's a disclaimer, I don't know. But anything that we see or think is not accidental if we feel very strongly about it. So Lynn, if you have a message, as you have a message, each one of us, it's so important to voice it. Try not to care what people are going to think. I'm at that point today that I have to tell my story. If you don't like me, that's fine. If you like me, I will be your friend and I will help you as much as you can. I can't make people do this, but my vibrational energy will accept where I'm going and land on the right people and bring them here. I used to in the beginning say, well, what's that person going to think, or what will that person think of me? I don't care today. I truly don't, and I'm saying that on the air. I am who I am. If you don't like me, that's fine. I used to be very sensitive about that. I am not. My message is too important for humanity. Believe, if, as I am, that there is so much more. There are many programs out there. I'm familiar with Gaia TV, which talks a lot, which helped me after Aldo passed, because he helped me. And I just open up as best you can. If you're listening to my show, please just keep an open mind. Pass this message on to people. I notice I'm getting a lot of shares. They're not all here listening right now, but the shares is very important because they're listening to my message and they're sharing with other people. That gives me great pleasure to see maybe I've had 100 shares. It's not a lot, but it's a start. Let's all come together with this message. For the ones that are beginning, as we call waking up, let's try and go forward with this. Don't care with the criticism. It's always going to be there. And I'm not blaming people, they're just not ready. But my message is to be with the people that do understand this, because I don't have many more years left. I'm getting later on in my life, and I want to pass this on. And Steve, as my husband today, I am delighted that you have such an interest in what I'm doing. I know you did not know that much, but it seems to be coming to you very easily right now.
It's all very exciting.
And I don't know how much longer we have, just to open up for you to maybe add something to this, that from not really understanding this from 22 years ago to now where you are sitting on my show. Amazing.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for everything that we've been through in the last year. By the way, if anyone out there is brave enough, please tune in tonight at 8 o'clock for Russ Johnson's Lights in the Night, where you might find out some of the things that Sally really knows and some of the things I've been learning recently, and Sally is dying to just give that information out. It's very, very interesting, and that's for a different type of show than this.
And actually, speak of Russ Johnson, he's actually walking in. Come in, we were just talking about you. Come on, come in. We're nearly at the end of my show. That's okay. We're just talking about, because I've come forward with a lot of the information that we've been sharing, and here he is in person. Please tune into his show also at 8 o'clock tonight. You will love what we both have to offer, especially I Met You Here. Again, it's the studio that brings us all together. So,
okay, and tonight is a special program, and I have a surprise guest, so tune in tonight.
thank you, Raz. Unfortunately, he came to the end of the show, but I'm sure he'll tune in and listen to it as it is pre-recorded. But anything else? Anybody else has any questions? Please open up to what you're... Right now, I'm opening it up to the studio of people here. Do you have something that you can ask me? I'm here to give the answers, okay?
Are you able to channel anyone specifically?
I can do that. Yes, I can, Karina. If you give me or I can give you a name, they come through to me. Once I'm in this mode, as I have been talking, and many people that have been listening to my show will realize this, that I'm able to tune into what is going on here. In other words, if someone asks me a question, I'm trying to get more rounded with this so that everybody can get involved in my show, because it's such an important message.
It is very important.
But if you want a particular information from a personal, I have been able to give not only the first name and the last name too, but I feel that I want to make it more open to a lot of people. But if you have something in particular, please feel free to ask me.
I know I vibrate at a very high level.
Okay.
And I know people feel it. I mean, even, I'm always told that my energy enters the room before I do.
Okay.
So they feel me before they see me. But just who's here? Who's
Okay.
here with me right now?
Well, again, I have always said this about the Brooklyn Cafe, as Dawn and Freddie know too. This is a meeting place. The spirits
of
come in
people.
here. So whatever topic we're talking about, I feel I get tremendous help because I'm in a different zone, as you can tell from the earlier part of this show. But they lead me and tell me. So whatever you feel is here right now, if you sense somebody, I feel that many of our spirits are actually listening to our program here. I say our program because it's open to the public.
I realized that we make them really happy
We
by
do.
talking.
Thank
And
you for
that's
that.
why the energy is uplifted, because we're not afraid to, we're not hiding. We're just saying this is our story. This
Absolutely.
is what we know for a fact. It is a fact. That we can say
Absolutely.
that. So, and then we get to share in this same vibration. So we're all have that moment of feeling that joy, right? As soon as you walk in the
Perfect.
studio.
But I feel now, as I had just mentioned earlier on in the show, that my show is beginning to take a different, let's say, with what we've been talking about, because of the news, of what's happening. And again, I'm going to make this disclaimer. I don't know what's up in the sky that's coming down, but I feel that it's very, very important to get this message out now. So I believe that everyone that is sitting here has an interest in what I'm going to say is UFOs, which my show had not taken that, but now I feel that it's definitely going into that direction, as you're here, us too, today. So it's really important, and I can't make anybody do anything, but the most important message coming to the end of the show, having listened to what I have to say here, please just try to keep an open mind. There is so much going on right now. We need a lot of help here right now. I can't tell you what direction the world is going to go to, but all I know is my message is of positivity, and it's so important to, as people that have been listening to my show, I preach positivity, because whatever we believe in our minds happens. It's hard to understand, and I know that you can relate. I know every one of you, including especially Mindy, too, here, that's here with me today, can relate to that. So it's so important to put this positive vibrations out there. My show is going in a different direction, and I'm delighted that it is, because I'm suddenly, after 18 years, I'm opening up to everything that has happened to me. And it's whether, as I had said, if it's a good experience, for me, it's a good experience today. I don't have Aldo here, but he's here with me in spirit, and I need to pass this on, however I do it. Radio, to TV, I will get this message out. You don't have to believe me, but please keep an open mind.
Sally, one other thing I wanted to bring up is in our work on your book and the sessions that we've been meeting, it's really become clear to me that you really do have a beautiful heart for people and want to help people. And one of the ways in which your gift can help people is this. If you're listening or watching this show right now or on a recording, then you're here to be a part of what's happening in this world. But you may not feel like you're ready for it. You may not feel like you're up to it. But there are people that were in your life that have passed on to the other side that are ready to cheer for you and to remind you of who you really are and what you
Right.
have inside.
Right.
And so if you decide to have a private reading with Sally, not only can she give you that information and pass that on to you from a deceased relative, but she can also give you the spiritual insight to wrap that guidance in so that you'll actually be able to do something with it once you move forward and start taking those initial steps to be all that you came here to be.
Thank you, Lynn, and I really appreciate that. You presented that beautifully. I'm here to give my show so people get an insight of who I am, but I am also here if anybody needs help, but I can give private readings too, which will take me to other places. It's about, I've had a lot of things happen to me, including my art, to hearing from people, to hearing from aliens, to having astral projection. So if anybody has any questions on these subjects, again, I'm going to say again, and it's not to say that you call me special, but I do not believe I'm special. I just want to make that clear. But I have tapped into each one of these things. This is not accidental that we're all sitting in this studio today. I am here to help. I am here as best I can to give you the messages from your loved ones, to tell you what I've experienced in my past, in my present, and what's going on in my future. To say that suddenly I became an artist from not knowing any of this. My validation has been given to me. It may not necessarily from Aldo, yes, because he was here, but it's from beyond. I can receive these messages, and the right people, especially right now, because it's so important, are coming into my life. Please let me help others that need this help. I'm here to help people as best that I can. But thank you for that message. It was nice. It was good. Thank you, Lynn.
What's up, Sally?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great. How about you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I literally had a question in my head, but I
Okay.
just got deja vu for whatever
Oh, dear.
reason.
Okay.
Can you explain what deja vu is? Because I mean, it's
Okay.
weird.
Yes, deja vu happens actually to most of us. We just don't know, but we always get a feeling that this has maybe happened before, or we'll meet someone and we can get either, it works either way, an instant liking to someone or instant disliking. Because from my point of view, and this is what I believe, and I'm not here to tell everybody believe this, but me, because I've had so much validation, is that we write a script. And in that script, certain people at certain times in our life come to us. But because we have a script, it's like a movie, suddenly these people appear. But we sometimes break through with this, and we have, like, I believe because it's what we've written, I kind of recognize this. How do I know what's going to happen next? To me, that it's, for myself, it's a perfect explanation to say that we have talked about this before, some other place, some other time. So the people that we meet sometimes, we can even go as far, and it's happened to me, that I know the next word that they're going to say. How can we explain that? In our dimension where we are now, because it's so dense, we don't understand that. But I have broken through, as many people have, to say, this is not normal in, quote, our dimension. So I can tell someone in my mind, I can't tell them because they'll think I'm crazy, what they're actually going to say.
I mean, because you were talking about dreams earlier, and that's kind of where I see them.
Right.
The beginning of them.
Exactly.
You'll see that picture or image, and then it's not a week later, 2 weeks later. I mean, it's like 5 months, 6 months later, a year later, I'm actually finally seeing the deja vu again.
Because it's getting your attention.
Oh. I don't want to talk about my subconscious mind. I've had I don't like it.
So
a lot of the dreams I
proceed with the
have.
question, though, sir. Yeah. So your question would be, how does this come about, right? There has to be, I'm going to say, a logical explanation. Logically, there is no explanation. Well, wait, but just so, but if you go beyond that to open up your mind, there is an explanation, because I've had premonitions. How do I know what's going to happen? I don't know always the timing on my premonition. It could be a year or two from now. We had one a little while ago where I think we're getting to the end of the show. It's a shame, because I'd like to come to you with the question. But if people can just say to themselves, right now, my show is right now, to please see beyond what we actually are told. If you can just open your mind up to that there are aliens here, there are explanations for this, we have guides, we are led through different dimensions. This is a dense dimension, so it's hard to break through. But if I can just open up a little bit, as I have, hopefully I feel that I really know you today from all the shows, that you've made a great jump, amazing, as Steve has here too. So there is more. Let me tell you, again, I'm not special, but I've opened up my mind to this. There is so much more, and we draw in what we need when we're ready. That's basically the answer to that. So yes, there is deja vu, because we've done it, if you want to say, before. We've worked out the script.
Yeah, so you think it's like, it's just letting you know that you're just on the correct path, basically?
I think so, Josh,
Because,
yes.
I mean, I saw the quote-unquote image a year ago. I mean, I could be somewhere else right now, and I wouldn't experience that quote-unquote deja vu. So I guess it's just telling me that I'm just...
Absolutely, and I
straight
feel
path.
that because you're part of my journey with you, because I started a few months ago, and I recognize that. You know that, Josh. So you're opening up more. I'm not saying I'm the one that's opening it up all for you.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the right place at the right time at the Brooklyn Cafe. So we're all here for that reason. We've all accumulated together to now pass this message on. Different aspects of it. Yours is your beginning. You certainly are beginning. We have Russ here, who's opened my mind completely to UFOs, to Lynn, to Dawn, to everybody here. Mindy especially. We met Mindy 4 years ago. There was a big reason for that. So my message today is just stop, which I wrote in my poem, look, listen, and carry on this journey. Let's all be in it together. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I think we're coming to the end of, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to you.
Tune in again next Monday at 3 o'clock.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.